Hi and welcome to the channel. I'm here at the SEC to try and get my modelling mojo back by visiting Model Rail Scotland.
As you can see, it was an early start for me. My train was due at 7:15 and it was already running late. Luckily, it was a chance to ride on one of the intercity trains using HSTs. Arrival at Glasgow Queen Street was on time. It's always a lovely little station, this. Quick walk across town to Glasgow Central, low level, where I managed to catch a electric train over to the exhibition centre. There's a covered walkway across to the exhibition centre because you have to cross over a road. And there was a queue even for the advanced tickets. Once inside, though, it was great to see such a fantastic laid out exhibition. The Pico stand had a number of dioramas on displaying all the things that you can do on your layout with Pico products. This was this is a Wills kit for a factory unit, and obviously various bridges. I really liked this one, which was an O gauge shunting layout, I suppose, demonstrating their O gauge track. And of course, they had their display of how to build a layout and what products you can do. Next was the Hornby stand, where they had a rolling road with a high-speed train with their new HM7000 Bluetooth sound decoder in. And a number of the samples from the factory of forthcoming bits of rolling stock. There's the Beavtail observation coach. They also obviously got Tiger on display there. I was particularly interested in the TTA tank wagons, and here's a close-up view of the underside of the engineering prototype. As you can see, lots of detail underneath there. I'm really looking forward to those wagons out. Also on display was DT120 stuff. They had their selection of buildings, many of them based on the Settle and Carlisle, as well as, of course, samples of all the various items of rolling stock that are either already available or shortly to be available. Obviously, they've also got TTA tanks there as well, presumably shared the design stuff. Then they had a demonstration layout, and it was remarkable how small even quite a substantial TT120 layout could be. There's a sample version of the HST in the background there, whilst it looks like I think that's Flying Scotsman running around with a set of Pullman coaches. Class 08 there in the sidings, looks like that's not far away. And again, this was running on the HM7000 Bluetooth decoder system. Just behind the Hornby stand was the first layout that I looked at, which is called Studio Tour. This is based on the idea of a film lot, and it's a chance to include lots of scenes, mostly from the Harry Potter films. Hagrid's cottage, spiders in the Forbidden Forest, Hogwarts Castle itself, of course. Quidditch pitches, Hogsmeade Village. See a bit of King's Cross there in the background. Next door was the Bachmann stand, and I was particularly interested in looking at the EFE rail class 143, 144 pacers. There's plenty of trade support as well. Lots of second-hand bargains to be had. Always good to have a rummage through all the various trays and sections. Another trade stand I saw had some laser cut buildings, which I was particularly interested in. Edmonds Lane is controlled by DCC, as you can see. It's using a lens system, and a lot of the locomotives have the same. The thing about these large layouts is the ability to run full-length trains like the HC there. Kilbargy Mill was a lovely little layout of a Scottish prototype. I was actually surprised to learn that the track is all code 100, because it certainly didn't look out of proportion. Surprising how much could be fitted into such a small space like this. This is Aberdeen Model Railway's O-gauge layout, D side. It's supposed to represent a line in the area around Bankery on, surprise, surprise, D side. This is a nice little N-gauge layout, Farmer's Drove. It's set on a single track branch across the fens, linking Spalding and March, and is set in the late 70s, early 80s. So it was actually in the Railway Modeller a couple of years ago. Is the massive layout, Burnt Island, 1883. Originally built as part of a P4 Society Challenge. Represents the area on the north of the Firth of Forth where train ferries would connect with the line from Granton to Edinburgh, as this was how traffic went north of Edinburgh before the Forth Bridge was constructed. Loco I did try to look out for on this one, but couldn't see, was number 224, nicknamed the Diver, because that's the locomotive that was recovered from the wreckage of the Tay Bridge when it collapsed in 1879. This is Bristol Avon Bridge, which is in double O, and is reminiscent of a certain large station in Bristol. Lots of parcel traffic, and of course HST services. Just goes to show that you can model a large station in quite a small area like this. This next layout is Ballyglunin, or Castletown. This is the station that was used in the film The Quiet Man. filmed in the early 1950s. It was depicting Ireland in the 20s and 30s. This is Kirkwood Central from Rutherglen Model Railway Club. Again, another 00 gauge layout. Set in the era between the 1950s and early 1970s. So there's a mixture of rolling stock. This is the famous Cadham Bay layout from Glenrothes Model Railway Club, again in 00. This one's been on the circuit for a number of years and is famous for its building on fire there, as you can see. The layout's currently for sale, so if you've got space for a 36-foot long layout like this, let Glenrothes know. Yes, I don't think the fire brigade's got that fire under control somehow, by the looks of it. This is Glebe Street by Elgin Model Railway Club in O gauge. It's depicting a layout in urban Glasgow, and it's actually set on 2 levels, with a low level goods yard and a higher level station area. One of the big announcements at Model Rail Scotland was by Accurascale, who announced their next model, Class 66 in 00 gauge. And here's one of the first samples. They're actually utilising the patterns tooling from the model that they brought out a few years ago. So that's very exciting, as Accurascale will be making a number of improvements. Other models are on display were samples of the upcoming Class 50 and the various banana vans that they've got. Lots of excitement around the Mark II C coaches and the already announced Mark II Bs. Mark I Suburban coaches also had samples on display. And the eagerly anticipated Class 37s, which should be in the shops shortly. I've got one on order from them, so hopefully you'll see a review of that when it arrives.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Next layout is called Copperwort and is based on the breweries in the area of Burton-on-Trent. This layout features in this month's issue of BRM. It packs a lot of detail into a very small space. Hornby Peckets as the motive power, and a lot of kit-built wagons of pre-grouping origin, mostly Midland Railway. The buildings are lit up inside as well, which really adds to the atmosphere on the layout. Some beer off to the Great Northern Railway there, I presume. There's the fiddle yard, which is surprisingly small. One of the traders there was a company selling trees, which I thought looked really, really good. The next layout is Roster Rise, which is set in northwest London and features London Underground trains along with mainline trains set in the 1960s. There's steam engines on both sides. Big block of flats in the background there, giving me a bit of inspiration. This is Dunsfold Road, another 00 gauge layout, based on Network Southeast Railway, just on the outskirts of southwest London, representing an area which is the border between the Third Rail electrified section and non-electrified section, hence the DMU purring away at the platform. Despite this being a relatively small layout, there's lots of lovely little details in it.
Even though it's not necessarily quality, it's definitely very good.
It's not working, is it? It's not working. Have a go. It's alright, alright. Let's have a look.
And here is Lego trains, and unlike previous Lego layouts that I've seen, this one actually has locomotives that are based on real life engines. So at the moment here we can see the APT running around, and looks like a Class 87 in electric blue with blue and grey coaches.
Off the top of my head, I do not. I'll have to go back to my folders of credits. But you'll find lots of information on the type of logo. It was withdrawn in the mid-60s, not much they do. As was the majority of steam engines in the 60s.
I don't know whether it's the Lego itself or simply the opportunity to run trains that's really attracting the youngsters. Opposite Lego was the G-Scale Society with their garden railway. All these massive trains in G-Scale, usually Continental prototypes, so don't ask me what engine that is, because I don't know. I'd guess I would say that all these locos were battery powered because there was multiple ones running on the same circuit. There was always something moving. This layout wasn't in the show guide, so I can't tell you that much about it, other than it's obviously O gauge, set in the BR Blue days, and seems to represent some kind of yard.
Said to me at the time, apply for it, not for it, you'll get the job, and then I applied for it, and one of the signals applied for it, I was off take for it, Craig said to me, they have films on it, I says, your signal, I says, your step, I says, I'm moving from Motherwell across it, I've got step, I says, this is your massive progressions, and then Dave Lewis was leaving, obviously, I go to the centre, something was coming out of me, and I got nobody standing against you for this, and everybody knows you should get it, which I took really well, because the centre people got a reputation when I missed it, they're not problem, and there's no one of them that I feel good with. Tam not to us, Tam is like me, Tam's one of the second guys. Tam walks over to me, and I just say, oh, here's a wee shot up there, and I'm like, laughing. Tam's in.
He used to bump into that so often when he's got right.
Tam's looking to go in.
Aye, because he's the same age as me, so
If there was a voluntary
if he's 62. Because the last day he was thinking about going when he was 60, but he's still working away.
Tam was off the shooting and all the history. He was there for months and months.
This next layout is Lammermuir, which is an N-gauge continuous run layout set in the Scottish borders on the Waverley route between Edinburgh and Carlisle. advantage of N scale is that you can have lots of trains running of prototypical lengths. And here we move on to the layout which is featured in many magazines called Alloa. Here comes a little rail bus. This next layout is Laramie, based in the 1950s in Wyoming. It depicts the shed, turntable and coaling stage for the Union Pacific Big Boy locomotives. As you can see, they're big. Each of these locomotives weighs over 10 kilograms. This next layout from Falkirk Model Rail Club. It's called Tam Shugli and features a mixture of Thomas, Underground Journey and Harry Potter locomotives. That was Edward just going through there. A few Daleks. One there wanting Michael Portillo to be the Fat Controller. Working windmill. Here comes Duck, climbing up the hill. And this next layout is the narrow gauge layout, Penryn Quarries. And is unusual in that, unlike a lot of layouts which tend to be set in the spring or the summer, this one's obviously set in the winter. It's a lovely little layout, and excuse my pronunciations, Ballachulish. This was a branch line off the open line, and this layout depicts it as if it had survived into modern days. Again, a lovely little smallish layout. It just shows how much you can cram in.
17. There you go. That's one less thing to worry about. Oh. Don't like it going that way. A bit earlier on. Because it's got the
Again, lots of lovely small details scattered around the layout. Especially I like the touch of the burnt out brake van. And this layout is Drum Cross. Very large layout. As you can see, there's a road system in use, so lots of buses trundling around in the background.
Well, it's 5.5 hours later. I've maxed out the wallet and I think I've got my mojo back. So time to start heading home and get cracking with the next stage of my layout.
Electric train back to Glasgow Central low level. And then back to Queen Street for the train home. If you've got this far, you like what you see, don't forget to hit subscribe for more and check out this other video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like and comment below.